for girls, you'd hear that they're having meetings with their teachers, they're apologizing to one another. So what that does psychologically for us, for me as a guy, is that
you might say both the things that you've said, but the tone will make it a little bit friendly or attacking.
So do you normally have regular check-ins within your marriage?
I think we try. There was a time we were really having a rough time, and so because we were seeing a therapist, the therapist told us,
for healthy communication with your partner, you start by saying,
this comedian was saying that he's happily married, and the reason why the marriage is a success is because
what is his love language?
Tell us.
it's also changed.
Kwani unashift goalpost hapa?
Hello Spacers, welcome to yet another episode of Space Yako the podcast. I am Gladwell, and today we're going to delve into a very thought-provoking conversation. But first, let my fellow co-hosts introduce themselves.
Hello, welcome to another episode. My name is Marlene.
Hi, naitwa Shiko.
Yes, and so we have very amazing guests who are going to join us later into the episode. So stay tuned. Ensure that you sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. If you're watching us from YouTube, remember to subscribe, watch, and like. Leave a comment and tell us your thoughts about the conversation that we're having today. Healthy communication in relationships is our topic of discussion. And the guests that are joining us today are also podcasters, and then we are also going to have the conversation with them later on. But for now, we're going to start the conversation with myself and my fellow co-hosts as we dive into the topic of discussion of today, which is healthy communication in relationships. So Marlene, I'll start off with you. I like your jumpsuit.
Thank you.
Unakaa smart sana leo.
Thank you.
So do you think it's necessary to have communication in relationships?
How about before we go on that,
Yeah.
I give you the space spice.
Oh,
Nearly
okay.
prepare, so there's no way we can do without that.
Yeah, sorry
anyway,
about
so
that.
on our space spice segment today, it says that one cool fact about healthy communication in relationships is that it involves not just talking,
Okay.
but also active listening. It's about truly hearing and understanding your partner's perspective without judgment or interruption. Alafu, there is just one little bit also. Approximately 93% of communication is nonverbal.
How,
You remember?
what's the percentage?
93%.
93%.
Yeah.
Non-verbal.
Yeah.
So what are these non-verbal kinds of communication?
I wanted to say, you see, like our parents use this most. Unakumbuka venye wageni walikuanga kwa nyumba and then you do something and then you just know
It's
those
a look.
eyes. Yeah. And you know you're on the
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, it's the facial expressions that someone communicates back. It's the gestures,
Pointing.
the fingers. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
fingers, it's the body language, how they're reacting to what you're saying. So I feel like the non-verbal is entirely everything that is happening during that conversation.
Yeah, and as it is in the statement, non-verbal, really, there is no communication, there is no word of mouth, really.
Yeah.
Because verbal, no, like the communication, like orally. So tukisema non-verbal, tunaweza sema probably active listening is something that is a non-verbal cue, but it is expected of you during communication, and it is really necessary, right?
Yeah, if it's 93% of it.
Then it holds the big percentage.
Yeah. So globally, a lot of people employ non-verbal cues as a form of communication. How effective is that, though? Do you think we should employ the non-verbal or the verbal cues in terms of communication?
I feel like
Non-verbal zinakujanga too. Right? Because, there's things that you do that you don't even know. Like maybe someone is talking to you and you're getting irritated and you're just rolling your eyes, truly.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think it's things that you sit down and you say during this conversation, I'm going to roll my eyes, I'm going to click at this person, I'm going to throw my hands. It's just because of reflexes, yeah? Yeah.
It
According
comes
to
off-
what someone is saying.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I also feel like most of the time we don't intentionally, like Aisha is saying, tend to like you see the way you can prepare for a speech, but
Yeah.
the non-verbals just come in naturally.
Yeah.
So in the point of communication, it's more of you want to get out, like express yourself with words, but not really like cautious about how am I going to put my fingers or something. So yeah.
And what is the role of this communication in relationships? If at all you were in a relationship, why do you think it is necessary for you to have communication with your partner? How does it help? How does it contribute to like growing your relationship, building whatever you all have together? I think for me, ningesema, it is very necessary for you to have constant communication with your partner or your person, kwa sababu ita build on more trust and intimacy. Because I do believe some kikatu na hamunge, you're not really saying whatever is bothering you at any point, and then you're just staying, mekuwa roommates kwa nyumba, ama if at all you're like staying together, mekuwa two roommates, you're not even sharing anything about your, definitely the spark will fade off, itaisha, and maybe that relationship is just doomed to die.
Can I ask you, are you speaking of, because we've said there are two, verbal and non-verbal, yeah?
I'm employing both at this point, because as long as it's just communication, it's either both verbal or non-verbal. But sasa tukiangalia, nikisema, for me, I feel like naongeanga sana. I'm a naturally vocal person. So let me lean more onto verbal for now, because I won't be rolling my eyes for everything that is being done with the person that I'm with. Nimekasika tuna roll macho. Kuna some points I'll need to employ like communication and actually verbalize whatever I need to say, because rolling my eyes, kuna mtu si malaika hata jua huyo amenirolia eyes juu nimemkosea, si ndio? So yeah, I'm wondering, what's your thought on that?
So I actually wanted to say on what you've said, that sometimes the interpretation of the non-verbal gestures can be so different. So it's easy for someone to understand like phantom words.
Leo umetumia phantom.
Anyway, Aisha hii point itapotea na venye nimeipanga.
Tuna phantom basi.
So it's easy for someone to like understand and know how to act back. And I want to give a case scenario. So in school, we had a teacher who had a smiley face. So he was always smiling, like he's angry, his face was just structured to be smiley. Sasa saa zingine angekuona you're doing something and he's like, toka nje, and then you think, you see, there was the jokes with the teachers, but you think they're joking or something.
You're not taking the teacher seriously.
Yeah, so I also feel like if at all someone can express themselves with words, that is better, because people might misinterpret the non-verbal cues.
Or misconstrue whatever you're depicting to them.
Yeah.
Real. And what about you, Aisha? What do you think?
About healthy communication in relationships.
Yeah, the role of
communication in relationships. So I think communication inaanza before we even get into the relationship. You know, when you're starting to get to know someone. So najua, okay, like I'm also chatty as you are. So most of the time, najipata tu, okay, I've had someone who talks lesser than I do. All right, like najua, if I was to go to someone who's more chatty, like I am, iyo ni makelele. First of all, that is a lot of noise that I don't need. Like I am the one who's supposed to be the noisemaker, right? So najua naturally watu ambao probably attract is people who they don't talk as much,
more down to earth.
So kumaanisha pale ambapo unaanza kujua mtu ndo unapata kumjua, okay, my partner is like this and this, yeye anaongea sana, so mahali ambapo anakuja haongei, then that means there's a problem that time, right? Kama mimi, like I go quiet sometimes, like you guys see me on set.
Yeah.
There are times I'm very noisy, but there are times I also I keep quiet.
No, kinyamaza tunakuwa concerned sana.
Aisha uko sawa, uko
sawa.
But I manishi siko sawa. It means, you know, I'm just consuming my I'm trying to store my energy for, you know, for the set as well. Sasa ukipata kujua mtu wako vile yuko, kama ni mtu ambao anaongea sana, anakuja anatulia, that means there's a problem, right? If it's someone who doesn't talk much, but unajua kukiwa na shida, sasa that is when they get chatty. Then unajua, okay, na leo kwani nini mbaya leo? So I feel like you get to know someone when you start dating and getting to know each other before you even get into that relationship. So you kind of have get their vibe. Like, akinyamaza inamaanisha hii, akifanya hivi inamaanisha hii.
And for that to happen, it necessitates that lazima utajua huyo mtu wako vizuri, si ndio?
Yeah.
So you've maybe spent time together and you've taken the time to actually know that this is how this person is, this is how this person behaves.
Yeah.
So what are the kinds of techniques that we should employ in communication, like for you to be an effective, tofaa kusema nani, mtu mwenye ni gwiji kwa communication skills in a relationship, unapaswa kufanya nini?
Mtu mwenye ni
Gwiji bana, hujui.
No, we carried vocabulary. What is gwiji?
Gwiji is a master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're no longer an amateur. So, yeah.
Like
what,
okay.
Yeah, so that's basically it. So what are the techniques that one should employ ndo kwe like really good at communication skills in a relationship? Like, yeah.
Okay. This is what I'd say. I don't think I'm not having a specific technique in mind.
Okay.
But I feel like in communication, it's really important to be emotionally intelligent is not the word for it. And that is what is coming. You have to be emotionally understanding. Let me say that. Because in the heat of the moment, sometimes you don't have time to kurudi and reflect on your actions that is maybe sparking up an argument. So then I feel like if there's that kind of emotional intelligence per se, people express themselves better. Like I'm able to listen and understand and even maybe read the gestures that you're putting out. You know, sometimes some people don't know how to put in words how they feel, but mtu anaweza anza kuwa emotional or they just can't speak. Kwanza mimi, when I'm angry, it's very difficult for me to get out like words out of my mouth. So I feel like it's really important, but then I don't know of the techniques, honestly, but emotional intelligence, for lack of a better word, is really important in communication.
Maybe nikisema techniques kidogo na changanya, wacha tutumie simpler language. So naweza pena maybe an example, then maybe inaweza wasaidia kuangalia the kind of scope that I'm using, the trajectory that we're using sahi. So for instance, naweza sema active listening is something I'd employ when talking to a partner that I do have. Meaning, anaongea, then I am there actively listening and really trying to understand where this person is coming from. Other than, anasema tu kitu, and I'm just ready to be so defensive and throw, what is it called? Iyo ya, ni kama unarusha kitu na mimi najaribu tu kublock. So it's like, you're telling me something, I'm not about to accept whatever you're saying. So
it becomes more of an argument.
Exactly. It's more of an argument.
Than a
Now,
conversation.
it's a build a conflict because there is no, nobody is willing to understand the other person. So I feel like something that I'd use is maybe active listening when communicating with a person that I have or when I'm communicating to a person ambaye tuko naye in a relationship. That's what I was
There's
saying.
something else that I saw. I'm here to practice. Maanake najijua mwenyewe. That's why we're having these conversations. It's good that we are discussing. Like, are these things that we are employing? So I've seen they said, for healthy communication with your partner, you start by saying, I am feeling this way because of this and this. I am like, ni wewe mwenyewe wasema vile ambavyo unasikia na kwa nini. Instead of, you know, you did this and this and this, so now I'm feeling this and this and this.
Oh.
That is kind of the same thing to me.
No, sasa, tuseme kama nini. Maybe we get an example, Marlene. Seme,
Nimekula popcorns zako.
okay. So I'll come and tell you, I'm feeling very bad, Marlene, because umekula popcorn zangu.
Na haukuniomba.
Na hukuniomba, Marlene, you get, as opposed to, wewe, mbona umekula popcorn zangu? Unajua saying,
okay,
you know, it becomes sasa more of an attack, as opposed to sasa mimi nikikuja na kukwambia, okay, mimi nasikia hivi na hivi kwa sababu hujaniomba popcorns.
Yeah.
Na umekula. No, it even tones the, you know, the tone goes down when I'm telling you this, like when I'm referring to myself then, when I start by.
Yeah.
Pointing out.
But you did this, so now I'm feeling this. Then
So-
I am feeling this way because you've done this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also feel like I do employ no, do I really employ that? Not at all times. Jukuna times nikiwa tu hata mimi nimekasirika, I am quick to wewe umenifanyia
Yeah.
umenifanyia hivi. I'm not like ati, oh, I feel upset. Okay, I feel like it does require a lot of emotional maturity for you to actually use that.
Maturity is not even the word for it. It's like, I feel like the tone though, the tone, because you might say both the things that you've said, but the tone will make it a little bit friendly or attacking.
Ebu try, Marlene. Ebu just try.
Able to me real
But
life
when you
examples
start
on
as
sex.
I, the tone goes low.
Yeah.
But when you start by pointing at the other person,
Yeah.
you know that it's anger that.
Yeah. And it's an
Pushes it.
accusatory
Sindio?
tone, definitely.
Yes.
Kwa hivyo,
Ebu
hiyo
just
unaongea
try.
tu vibaya.
But again, I feel like, you see, I might start with you, but the tone that I'm using is like calming the situation down. Ni kama, Aisha mbona umekula popcorn zangu? And Aisha mbona umekula popcorn zangu? You see, like the difference in that tone. So I feel like one would spark a quarrel and the other will like bring out the nature of, I want to understand why you've done this thing. They're different. I get what you're saying. They're different, yeah.
Nasa vile tumeongelea popcorn sana, I feel like it is time for us to bring the guests on board hapa, watuambie some of their opinions on these things, watupatie some input, no, we know how these things work, because we have a very powerful couple hapa. Powerful couple in a shake the internet. Yes? So we need to invite them now. So stay tuned. The conversation is just getting hotter. We're just getting started. Wengoja, everything is getting better. Get ready as we uncover more onto this episode. As promised, we have our guests with us here, and I'll give them a moment to introduce themselves. Njiru and Bencyco, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much for having us. My name is Njiru, as Gladwell introduced. I am a co-host of the Joyride Podcast, and I'm so happy to be here.
Wow.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
My name is Bencyco. I'm a podcaster, I'm a musician, I'm a creative, and I'm happy to be here. You guys have a very nice studio. This is very, very I love everything about this podcast.
They've done
job.
such a good job.
This is incredible, you know. This is London stuff.
Yeah, you love our new space.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Love the colors.
But thank you guys for having us, man.
Wow. Thank you for taking time to come to our podcast today. And we shall continue with whatever discussion we were having.
Yep.
So what does a healthy relationship look like according to you? Ladies first.
You're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
I think a healthy relationship is just where you feel safe. In my experience, is where you feel safe, you feel seen, you feel listened to, and like it's easy to raise things, and it's, I don't know what other word to use other than healthy, but you feel safe, you feel seen, you feel listened to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Very encouraging. What about you, Ben?
Yeah.
I think
Tell
a
us.
healthy relationship is where, first of all, there's love. Definitely, you have to love one another. But also, love has foundations, and one of them is communication. You know,
Yeah.
You feel like the other person is getting you, you're getting them. You know, whenever you connect with somebody like that, that makes it very easy for you guys to even live together, and for you guys to just like grow together and have a happy relationship.
Yeah. So he's mentioned something so fundamental. Communication in a relationship is mandatory, very, very essential. So what does communication look like in your relationship again?
Ben, what does communication look like in our relationship?
How do you go about it?
We've come a long way, man.
Yeah.
When we started dating, I feel like Shiro was a bit more self-aware than I was. You know, just you see my boy.
I'm not going to
Aisha
Aisha was waiting.
Yeah, it was like,
Unatuonesha kidonda.
no, really. I mean, I don't know. I feel ni kama madem pia wamereziwa kiplani in a way it's such that you are taught to express yourself better. For guys, it's, you know, hold it in, suck it in, take it like a man. I remember when I was in high school, nilikuwa nasikia sijui shule za madem, after preps they talk and they, if there's anyone I have wronged or if there's anyone who
Let me tell you what was happening. Because you're saying it in a very nice way. Kwanga, may I have something to say?
Yeah.
Come on, the Bible yangu. Come on,
Yeah.
You see, now in boys school that was rubbish, man.
Yeah.
Like ukijaribu kufanya hivyo mseta zima stima usikie tu kitu imeruka. So we were not like, communication is not our number one thing, you know. That's why even when we had a problem in high school, most of the times the boys is, let's burn this whole place down, you know.
Yeah.
For girls, you'd hear that they're having meetings with their teachers, they're apologizing to one another. So what that does psychologically for us, for me as a guy, is that you learn to keep some things on the low. You don't have to say everything. So now I'm dating this girl who not complains, but
Thank you. Jiita mkuta. Tunaenda the same house.
So I'm dating this girl who I'd say it's like she feels everything, It's like if I told her I'll call you and then I don't call, I expect like that's not a big deal. Like hakuna mtu amededi, like why is it such a big deal?
Yeah.
But for her it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
So I had to start warming up to this to understand. In fact, at that time I used to tell her she's too sensitive. But I just came to realize that's the name we give to people who are more in touch with themselves. And when you're in touch with yourself, you tend to better your communication more.
Yeah.
So we've come a long way, man. We've come
And
a
that
long
means
way.
also you are not a man of your word. Like, what would you tell a baby? You're going to call her.
I mean, it can't be concluded that I'm not a man of my word because
Then you are not.
No. I just never thought it was this deep. Like that could earn me that I'm not a man of my word just by not calling back as I promised. It was a bit cash. It's like, even if you were to say you'll do something to me and you don't do it, I'll just also sweep it under the rug. It's like, also how we grew up at our house, it's not like we would address everything. It's like sometimes you have to sweep it under the rug. Can I give you a story?
Life moves on.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
But later on, I learned that you have to learn to express that which is in your heart or what you're feeling. Because if you're not ready to have uncomfortable conversations, then you need to be ready to have uncomfortable relationships.
Oh.
You should write that down.
I got that.
You're with Daktari here.
But can I ask though, because you're speaking of, you realized it's like you are taking note of her emotional well-being and understanding how she was expressing herself. Is there a point when you could tell him like, this is what I want you to do? Or was it did you just see him turn, like changing and becoming the sweetheart you want?
No, 100%. Like we had to sit down and you kind of you repeat it. Kwani unakaa very kama unaniambia don't say. No, but you keep on repeating. We especially when you're dating, when we were dating at least, I found myself repeating the same thing over and over again. Like, I need you to listen to me. I need you to listen to me. And sometimes, I learned, maybe sometimes I was the one who was doing it the wrong way. Because your intentions could be pure in terms that you want to communicate something has hurt you. But the approach, also the time you're bringing it up, it's also the wrong time. So it's received the wrong way in as much as your intentions were.
Right.
Yeah. So I found myself, I had to repeat myself. But as Ben has said, we've come a really, really long way. Even today, like we had a tiff in the morning and we were able to solve it so well. I just had him say, well, that was so mature. And I was like, we've come a really, really long way.
Because kitambo, hiyo conversation ingeenda south, hii podcast ingekuwa na tension. Kama hip hop, it's like having Tupac and Biggie on the same set. You know?
Yeah.
So let me ask you, in regards to that, let me pick it up from you, Njiru. So unaona, we get tired of that as women, right? Ile unashinda umekumbusha mwanamume the same thing. And it's like that he now becomes your child, like usiache hiyo kikombe hapo na bado ameacha. Usiache hiyo kikombe hapo. Like you don't is it patience that you have? Kwa sababu pia kushinda kurudia kitu over and over again for your partner to like pick it up eventually, in as much as communication is encouraged. Right?
Yeah. But in my experience, what I saw was different. Was in as much as ulikuwa unajirudia, you'd find that there's improvement. Like he might, and as a Rudy, back to where he was to square one.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like that forever. So
the
there are times it goes up effort. It goes up.
No, I want to add something after you finish.
Okay. It goes up and down, up and down. So there are times he's really, really good and you can see he's making effort. Then on a backslide. So it's that effort that keeps you.
Backslide.
It's that effort that keeps you consistent.
Okay.
So there's gradual progress.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
You know, I saw this joke on TikTok, and it's kind of like what this conversation has taken. And it was like this comedian was saying that he's happily married, and the reason why the marriage is a success is because he's work in progress, and the wife is just an amazing piece of art.
A complete project.
No, I've admitted.
And what you're also trying to say is, just because I wasn't good at expressing myself, in as much as she was good at expressing herself, the how and the when is also very crucial to communication.
To addressing things.
You get?
Yeah.
So just because you're good at expressing yourself, you also need to be emotionally intelligent to know that for
When
this
is the right
person
time.
to get whatever I'm saying, I need to bring it up like this.
Yeah.
Or to
like
bring it up
when.
at this time. Because if you bring it up at the wrong time, in the wrong way, it kind of might come off as condescending. Then you don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
communication is not just you talking and them listening. It's how you say it, how they receive it. It's surrounded by all these facets around it.
Yeah.
So do you normally have regular check-ins within your marriage? Like how do you put each other on toes?
I think we try. There was a time we were really having a rough time. And so because we were seeing a therapist, the therapist told us, like, you need to set aside time every day
Check-ins.
to fight, actually. So, like, she told us every day, you pick a time that works for you. So if it's 2 to 3, pick a time, na kwa hiyo time, it's just you guys mna vent. Whatever Ben amenifanyia, it's your time to vent. And what we saw with time is that we were able, first of all, it's like the arguments went down. Or if they didn't go down, we were able now to deal with them better because of that constant check-in, even if it's just to check in to fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the regular check-ins were happening on a daily basis.
So, like, for now, that was for conflict resolution.
yeah.
But in terms of check-ins, we really try. But I think sometimes, because even, we work together, we live together, you assume you're spending so much time with this person.
Yeah, true.
So, and you know how they're doing. So we try to be as intentional as possible, even though sometimes it's not 100.
Oh, yeah.
So during this regular check-ins, do you start with I? So I think, I feel, or is it like wewe?
Ulifanya hivi.
Umefanya hivi? What is the language? Like, what is the right way to go
For me, it
about
starts
it?
like, how are you doing? How are you doing work related? I know we work together, but maybe there's a way his headspace is at work-wise. How are you doing? How do you feel about our marriage? How do you feel? We are now expecting. How do you feel about becoming a father? So we do those. That's how we started. Alafu now everything flows from.
Okay.
Wait, turudisheni mkidate, yeah? Because now it's like the scenario you're giving is you have grown to this space now, and how was it like, when maybe you're not living together, working together in the same space, like spending most time with each other, and it was just that once in a while you get to spend time together. How was it then? Labda niulize Ben. Yeah.
What? Like when you were dating, how was it?
Like the check-ins, did you have time the way you do now?
No.
Like now this is our time to fight and vent out and do all that.
At that time, we were not that emotionally aware that this is our time to fight. It was like, if you've stepped on me, then I guess this is the time to fight, But that thing for scheduling time to if you have beef with somebody, you squash it. It's the therapist was trying to say that probably by the 3rd week, because it was supposed to be once a week, but you learn that
It was once a week.
it was once a week.
Okay.
Yeah, it was once a week. Or you wanted it to be once a day, right?
I thought it was daily, actually. Either way,
I think it was once a week. So you'll realize by the 3rd week, you've run out of things to argue. Yeah, that was the concept that she was trying to teach you guys, to teach us. And it's because when you don't communicate when somebody wrongs you. So I noticed that me and Shiro, we're very interesting. Like, ukitukosea kiasi, like if she wrongs me, even if it's a small thing, I'll bring it up. If she does the same, if I wrong her, she'll also bring it up, Kitambo used to feel like that's a petty thing, but it helps you not to build resentment.
Yes.
Because when somebody wrongs you over and over, and it's really a very small thing. Like it's probably even the way maybe she bangs the door, the car. Like it's just a small thing. If you don't communicate it at first,
it builds up.
It builds up, and then becomes resentment. It affects the relationship.
It does.
And then you hear people, it creates such a huge drift such that you can't even sort it out.
Yeah.
But the core foundation of it is that if somebody, if your partner steps on you in a certain way that you didn't like, just raise it up with them, so that it doesn't create beef eventually.
So now, before you go to a point where, Sasa, okay, you've stepped on me now, we're going to address it now. Instead of letting things build up, have you ever had like now moments where you have silent treatment because mtu amekufanyia hii, so now umejekea and you're counting.
People should say the truth and nothing but the truth.
Nitamwachia jibu.
Because now it's healthy, but now zile siku za silent treatment.
I think it really happened a lot when we were dating, because you think ninaweza enda home, like there's so much distraction around you.
Yeah.
So, and I was guilty of that. Like I felt like maybe silent treatment is the best option. Atani miss, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Atani miss, alafu he'll come on his knees rather, and say I'm sorry. But I think that pushed him away even more.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think especially for him, I don't know about other, but I know for him he doesn't respond so well to silent treatment.
Okay, so maybe before you even proceed, I'd like us to probably say the difference between silent treatment and ghosting, because at this point we are referring to that stage in your relationship when you people were dating. Were you giving each other silent treatment to that point that eventually communication will resume, or it was ghosting, you're not even talking at any point, and it's like you've blocked or cut someone off without the possibility of having a conversation after some days or weeks? How was it? Which is it?
I think it wasn't ghosting. It was
ghosting?
silent treatment, because you'd find that you'd still need to. So for me, silent treatment was like you're passive aggressive in the way that you're communicating.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I need this. Just make sure you get it to me. So it's not like I've cut off communication. It's just that passive aggressiveness in the conversation, with the hope that he'll pick up that something is off, and then he'll rectify it.
Yeah.
But I found again he doesn't do well, so it's better you just unamuita kamkutano, unamwambia this is what you did. If he chooses to work on it, well and good. If he doesn't, then we can take it from there.
So unasema akikwambia I love you, ulikuwa unamwambia I love you.
Hata ujibu.
Yeah.
No, ni passive aggressive. Hey, did you get home safe? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you okay today?
Yeah.
It's like you can tell.
Thumbs up.
One word.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell it.
Emoji
Like
ya
poor
thumbs
Buddha.
up. Yeah.
Chonjo.
Yeah, you can tell it's in the undertones. But silent treatment is also not. Actually, silent treatment is a toxic.
It is.
It's a toxic
Trait.
It's a toxic way of dealing with things, and it's mostly the biggest. Well, even men do it, but of course, the women do it. But that's a very toxic way of handling things.
Yeah.
Our therapist again, Nyambura, we've brought her on the show, the Joyride Podcast. She was saying that for men, silent treatment to men is equivalent to cheating.
What
What?
cheating is to women.
Yeah.
So how you would
really?
handle cheating as a woman is
It's
what
how
a
they
man.
handle silent treatment.
Yeah. So it's terrible. It's like not a good way to deal with anything,
Yeah.
So I also didn't know the impact of that, but it used to piss me off, because if you have beef with me, just come raise
Straight
it up.
up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll handle it. But so when you create a habit of ukikosewa kiasi, unanyamaza for 2 days, I don't think necessarily that's ghosting, because I think ghosting sasa ni silent treatment imeenda Harvard, that's crazy,
Graduate.
Yeah. To the point that you're blocking somebody on WhatsApp, on calls. Now they only have to send you emails because you are blocked on Instagram or things like that's why.
Yeah.
I think silent treatment is such a bad thing.
Yeah,
But also, if you can't get yourself to communicate your feelings better, you need some healing emotionally. You need to see somebody. You need to seek help, because
talk
it
to
stems
someone.
also from those kids who are not given an opportunity
Background.
to air their opinions.
Yeah.
So what that makes you do as an adult, because we all have a kid inside of us, the baby, is you learn not to express yourself. So you learn to weka vitu chini ya maji, because how you grew up, you were not given an
You were not
opportunity
given the platform.
to share your opinions. Like there are families that the father can even say sorry, the mom can say sorry, they sit down, they talk about it,
That's not most people.
That's not
Hiyo
a
hata
lot of
umeenda
people.
mbali, hata just a simple hug. Sindio?
Yeah.
It used to be such a big deal.
Yeah.
African
And it
households,
still is, yeah. So ngoja nikuulize, what is your love language and what is your love language?
Before
No.
tufike
Ask
hapo.
them the
Yeah.
opposite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What is her love language?
Yeah.
Her love language is simple gifts.
No.
My wife, what?
It's changed. No, like when we started dating, for sure it was gifts. But I think as we have evolved and also grown, I think now is in this season of my life, it's acts of service.
Of course, you need help. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what is his love language?
Tell us.
It's also changed.
Kwani una shift goalpost hapa? Umekuja hapa like,
I think
I'm
I want
shifting
to
that
say
goalpost.
physical touch. and gifts.
Is it true?
Yeah, physical touch, gifts, yeah.
Yeah.
Goalpost. Ungebadilisha,
I'm honest.
But that is really amazing. So I just want to understand, at what point did you get to understand his love language? Because we were just having this conversation and we were like, sometimes we love people the way we want to be loved, and that is not necessarily how they feel loved. So did you ask him? Did you do a test? Like we have a test for love languages. How did it happen?
I think kumuuliza na pia observing him. Because now you can tell, like, saizi, Ben really values, like, if you buy him something, he feels, like, very close to you and he feels, ni kama umemfurahisha.
Yeah.
So, and then also, like, if you touch him, he feels really, really loved.
Yeah.
So I think ni kumu-observe mostly for me. Yeah.
And how about you?
Yeah, I noticed when you started dating, she would get excited over small things that I'd buy her. You know, like you buy her a card and she loves it. She like 2 years later, she still has the card. You know, I'm just like, this thing was like not even expensive. You know,
Yeah.
so
It's the thought process.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
thoughts that count.
Yeah.
So I started learning that maybe that's important to her, and that's how she wants to be loved. So I would try, like, every once in a while you buy her stuff. Though her taste has always been expensive. I don't let him put soda, but I don't do, you know, you gotta buy her.
Umeulizwa tu, how did you know? Details,
What descriptions. So yeah.
Yeah, so how often do you probably discuss about, say, physical intimacy? If, in case you probably want to address something, do you verbalize whatever you do need? Do you talk about these things, and how often does it also happen?
I think it happens when because of now we've developed healthy communication, especially just like what you guys were saying earlier, actively listening.
Yeah.
So he can tell me something that he likes or doesn't like, and vice versa, and like just being actively listening to him. Yeah.
And what about, let me use a hypothetical scenario. Definitely we do know that these things happen out there in people's relationships out there. So maybe you may be interested in something new that hasn't happened within your relationship. So how do you address such a situation? Will it be that kind of scenario whereby you're bringing in something new and then unaulizwa, ulijulia wapi? Like, did you get this from somewhere out there, and then it's taken negatively, ama it's something that is just open for discussion? And I am understanding where you're coming from, and I am willing to try out if you're down. Like, how does it go about?
No, I think you should answer that.
Let the man answer it.
So, like, if you're introducing a new concept to the relationship, like, let's say, for example, she wants us to start doing plays.
Okay.
Because she's been insisting on plays.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm open to explore. I was just telling her that because we're expecting a baby, that I can't wait to start taking my baby for camping. You know, and that's not something she likes. She would never leave her house to go sleep.
I've seen the non-verbal has happened.
It's not something she would
Non-verbal
never do.
communication.
So you introduce it. If the other party likes it, that's okay.
Okay.
If they don't like it, you just
You drop it.
You keep
wait.
pushing.
You wait when the other person comes.
It's ready. Oh,
Then you can do it.
okay.
But you keep pushing. But if they also don't want to do it, then that's fine. Because I enjoyed things that she also doesn't enjoy, and maybe also that can be my escape. You know,
Yeah.
maybe there
True.
are things that I just want to do without
By yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm getting from this topic today is that, one, I'm just debunking on this hoja nzito tumepatiwa hapa. Tumeambiwa that you shouldn't wait until things build up for you to address them. In case there is a problem you're facing within a relationship, just address it immediately as it comes. Usingoje zinajazana, because you're putting unnecessary pressure onto yourself, and that's doing injustice to your partner. Because unangoja tu ile siku unaanza kusema kitu ya April 2019
Unakumbuka wewe.
2
Yeah,
months later.
records,
Yeah.
So
receipts.
please, yes, what will address issues as they come. Don't let them build up. Sindio?
Yeah.
Then we should be open in communication, and let's be respectful in the way we talk to our partners.
Yeah.
In as much as you're angry at your partner kwa kitu ambacho amefanya and you don't like it, you should be very careful to choose your words wisely in order to address them, for it to be a fruitful conversation and for healthy communication to prevail. So I'm going to give a shout out to Wazi again. This is a very dope chatbot, and it's a website, www.wazi, which is wazii.ke, whereby you could go take a love language test. If you do not know your love language, I'll tell you something shocking. Nimefanya a love language test just before this episode. All this while, I thought probably love language yangu ilikuanga like receiving gifts, see gift giving, receiving gifts. But then I showed you, Marlene. What was it? What was my primary love language today?
Touch, physical touch.
And that was
Yeah.
a shocking discovery. So I'm here to tell you that you can do that love language test on Wazi, and I hope that you all enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to give a shout out to Joyride again.
Yeah, so you can catch us on the Joyride Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
You can find us there.
Okay.
We have a new show called Love on the Joyride. We've brought 8 strangers, 4 guys, 4 chicks, and we're taking them through like an 8-episode show. And eventually some people date, some don't.
Wow.
It's pretty dope. It's like, that's the hottest thing right now in the sub-Saharan.
Wait.
I doing that thing for kiss and marriage. Did you and what?
No, it's not that.
It's not those ones for balloons. Like, this is high level intelligent stuff. Just check it out on our
Yeah.
Okay, please do check out.
Yeah.
We shall also check it out. Personally, I vow that I will check it
Nice.
out.
So maybe I could say one area I would want to improve on. I'm still a work in progress. I feel like I've come a long way from when we were dating, but I still feel like maybe when I raise issues and how I raise them will really help us in healthy, especially conflict resolution, because we are all products of our environment. And so I'm a product of how I've been raised. Ben is a product of how he's been raised. Like in our family, kushautiana is like, not kushautiana when you're angry, but even calling someone akiwa mbali ukimshautia, that's not a problem. Like communicating, even if you're not upset, but Ben doesn't take that really well. And so even if you're telling him the nicest thing, as long as you're vocalizing or shouting it, he doesn't receive it really well. So I've come a long way. I'm still not there yet. So I think that's one area of improvement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I have so many. I think we need to break them down. Economic, social, political.
Say them all.
Attacks from neighboring communities.
Yeah, pastoralists,
Yeah.
climate change. I'd say one of the things that I'm still trying to improve on right now is trying to separate from being a colleague and also being a husband. Sometimes when Njiru brings up stuff to me, I want to give her quick solutions, just as I would do if it was a colleague. But maybe I'm supposed to wear the husband hat, and sometimes it's just hard to differentiate. I want to give solutions real quick. We move on. So that's an area definitely I need to keep balancing and improving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what about some parting short tips that you'd like to give to our audience here?
Actively listening. And being open to also being called out.
Okay.
Because even as Ben was saying, like I might be so self-aware, but there's some areas that I fall short. And just because I'm able to articulate my feelings doesn't mean that for Ben, who is not able to be so expressive, that I do no wrong when it comes to communication. So keeping that open mind, that there's also so much that I need to work on. And if he calls me out, it's for me to actively listen and to be open to working on myself.
Yeah, so you do take the constructive feedback positively.
Yeah.
No.
And what about your parting shots?
I think healthy communication is a journey. You start from somewhere. You build up slowly, and you continue to make progress in life. It's not a destination that you get to.
Yeah.
But it's very important that you start working on it, because especially if you're in a relationship, I don't know, maybe in future you might get kids or expand your family. And if you've not worked on this, best believe you're going to transfer it to the bigger family or the people who you will have around. So it's a journey of growth. You have to just trust the process one step at a time.
So drop ile koti yako ama umesahau.
Yes, if you're not ready to have an uncomfortable
And
relationship,
Be ready.
No, if you're not ready to have uncomfortable conversations, be ready to have uncomfortable relationships.
Wacha arudie
Nelson
tena.
Mandela.
Wacha arudie tena.
Haujashika.
Mimi sijashika, wacha arudie pole pole.
No, I'm saying, if you're not ready to have uncomfortable conversations, then be ready to have uncomfortable relationships.
Yeah.
Okay.
Acha niwaambie huku nje talking stage ni difficult. What? Tunakapitia. Soko ni mbaya.
imeharibika.
So mtu cast kwa hiyo nini?
Kwa hiyo show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Volunteers. What about
Thank you, guys.
Marlene? What parting shot will you like to give to the audience? At least wasikie stuff from where na Aisha. Hey.
I think one thing I've learned is that they've really been on a journey and they have an amazing relationship from what I'm hearing. And a healthy relationship is beautiful. Yeah, it's really beautiful in terms of communication. Like, communication is key to almost everything.
Foundation.
Yeah.
Aisha.
Parting shots. Mwandike kwa t-shirt. Ni bora kuwa na mtu ambaye anakuambia babe, acha sijakushow. Then kwenda sasa kuwa na mtu ambaye anakuambia babe, nipe story. So.
Okay.
It took a minute for that to sing.
But if you sing, it's
Is it a slow day?
Yeah.
For me, I'd like to say that nimelearn a lot, but yenye nasema Mungu nataka kama hii. Nataka kama hii ya Bencyco na Njiru. Anyway, thank you so much for staying with us, for tuning into this episode. Until next time.
Adios.
Bye. Bye.